world has changed. America has changed. If something were to happen tomorrow, how self-sufficient would you be? Could you grow your own food? Could you sustain your own livestock? Could you survive? This is the We Grow Our Show with Nick and Don. Nick and Don talk about everything from politics to planting. They cover techniques, methods, and tips on how to not only survive, but thrive. Visit the website at WeGrowOurs.com. Lock and load. This is the We Grow Our Show. Get your grow on.
Welcome back to the We Grow Our Show. We have got a great show ahead of us here. I hope you guys are ready.
I'm excited.
I am too. I'm giddy as this cool girl.
That's right. No, wow. We've got the organizers from the Grow Your Own Food Summit. And if you guys don't know about the Grow Your Own Food Summit yet, it's free and it's going to be awesome. And it's July 7th. Now I got to look up the date.
I totally brain farted. I can't remember.
I got to look up the date. Hang on, I got it. I got my little iPad, so I got everything at my fingertips now. So July 7th through the 14th.
There you go.
So go to WeGrowOurs.com, click on almost any one of the links there, and register for your free seat. And you guys are going to see 30 plus speakers over a 7-day period. I'm just going to take the week off.
I think so too. I'm going to call in dead.
Yeah, that'd be. I don't want to do that, but yeah.
I'm sorry, Nick died today. I show up a week later. He is risen.
So Nick, I gotta have you share your story today.
Oh yeah.
I fell over laughing about this. So before we get into real stuff.
Well, we'll tie it into what we're doing here.
We will?
Yeah, of course.
All right.
Well, it's sustainability and being frugal and.
No, it's not.
Okay. Yes, because I'm going to make myself out to be the hero in this story.
All right, you go right ahead. I'll listen.
All right, so I'm not a coffee drinker, but I love going to coffee shops and getting chai latte. Good stuff. And pulled into this coffee shop that I love, and there is this beautiful black Bentley in the parking lot. And there's like spaces all around, but I pulled my 10-year-old beat up Nissan Frontier that looks like it mowed down a pack of bees in the front end. Just
it's dirty.
It's dirty as heck. It's a brown truck, so it looks really dirty. And I pull up alongside this Bentley to where the driver's side doors are right next to each other. And I see the owner of the Bentley walking towards the car, and he's just got this look of fear in his eyes. He looks like, oh no, he's gonna door ding me. And so I'm sitting in the truck, and as he comes up, he kind of gives me a nod, opens up his door, and I roll the window down and say, "Excuse me, sir, just make sure you don't door ding me." He didn't know what to say. He was just like, It just said, I was like, "Oh, don't worry, go ahead and do it. You'll probably up the retail value of this sled." It was great. I was so proud of myself.
As I did.
Yeah. It was good.
So, go ahead. I'm waiting for the tie-in.
Oh, the tie-in is,
yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah,
well, okay, yeah. It was $8,000 truck versus $250. What are they?
A lot.
$250,000 for a stupid car.
Now, where were you when this happened?
Scottsdale.
Where?
Jolt to Java.
Jolt to Java, shout out of the week.
Oh, look at that.
Look at that.
Oh.
See, I can tie it in.
Hey, way to go there.
So
way
the
to
shout out of the
away.
week is Jolt to Java. It's a local coffee shop. These guys are independent, so they're not
a chain.
They're not Starbucks.
No, and honestly, they give a healthy dose of chai in their latte. And it's some strong stuff.
I'm not a latte kind of person. I like tea and coffee. Plain iced tea, plain black coffee. That's what I like. They got the best. They're really good. My wife goes there because they also offer some gluten-free stuff. So that's why I want to do them as a shout out of the week. And they always let us put our little cards down. And they got a little community section, and they got books. So we've thrown a couple books in there, and you can go read. And I've added an aquaponic books in there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, fill it up with business cards.
Shameless self-promotion.
Exactly.
I'm going to go over there with my hostile hair cards and start offending people.
Put them in the books, and you put some gardening books and throw that little card in there. So So Jolted Java will be our shout out this week.
That's right. Owner operated. The dude that owns it's pretty chill.
Yeah, good lunch menu too.
Oh yeah, there's a huge lunch menu.
Yeah. So that's our shout out of the week for our local Scottsdale area business.
That's right.
All right, well, let's get these guests on because I'm excited.
I'm excited too.
Cool.
Welcome back to the We Grow Our Show. This week we've got a very special set of guests. We've got the food growing people. Can we get a sound off on who's on the other side of the line?
This is Valerie Clausen.
And this is Gary Heine.
Awesome. The dream team of, when I first looked at it, it looked like people, growing people. What was the, people growing people?
People growing people. Yeah.
Anyway.
That sounds like from the 70s. Let's get current here.
Sounds like a song.
Yeah.
People.
Gonna make a hit right now.
We'll have a jingle for whatever company we just created, but we don't have an actual reason for the company yet.
That's right.
Yeah.
So what are you guys doing?
Well, we're putting on the Grow Your Own Food Summit and just talking to a lot of experts and food activists and healthy food, enthusiastic food growers, and trying to help people get empowered and inspired to start growing food or start growing more food.
But the reason why we really got into this in the beginning was because we didn't know how to do it. We were feeling really frustrated. Probably about 6 years ago here in Louisville, Kentucky, we started our own garden in our backyard and put a little tiny amount of soil on the ground and put a zillion seeds in that little tiny amount of soil and looked at these little wimpy plants growing that we had no idea what they were and thought, whoa, we don't know anything about growing food. And I wonder if we don't, then maybe other people don't. So, you know, like any good overachievers, we started a nonprofit around something we knew nothing about.
Hey, what better way to learn something than just getting in it and getting dirty and doing it, you know?
Exactly. So we started 15,000 farmers here in Louisville, Kentucky about 6 years ago. And we have about 5,000 people who've signed up for their very own dirt cards to be members of our wild organization here. And it's created a lot of community and celebration around food and a lot of education.
Which we've really been missing for a long time, the celebration and fun around food. You know, it's become so corporatized and systematized that there's no joy hardly in food anymore. So we need to help bring that back.
That's right. Now you touched on something there. Did you call that a dirt card?
Yes, we did.
Okay, you're going to have to explain that because I want one. I don't know what it is, but I want one.
So 15,000 farmers, the number came from a talk that we heard Michael Pollan give at Bioneers many years ago, and he said that we needed 30 to 50 million new farmers to really change our food system. And so we live in Louisville, Kentucky, which is a 1.5 million person city, and we did a little exaggerated math, and we decided that 15,000 farmers in Louisville, Kentucky would really change things. Okay. So that's how the name came about, right? So then, to be one of our 15,000, we wanted to give everybody a card to carry. So we decided to call them a dirt card. So you got a number and you get a dirt card, and you can go to your favorite stores here in Louisville and get 10% off of the goods that you buy there if you're a dirt card carrier.
Man, I kind of want to be in your town and get a dirt card. I think we're going to have to start something up here, but in the deserts of Arizona, it'd be more like a sand card. Because we don't have dirt here. We have to make our dirt. So
whatever works.
So 6 years ago, you've got a little plot of land, you throw some soil down, you throw some seeds down and kind of let it go with that, and then realize that you really don't know what you're doing. There's really not a lot of people out there giving direction. So I'm glad that you guys have stepped up, and it sounds like you've got quite the coalition behind you now.
Well, we do. We have given the reins of 15,000 farmers over to some other very capable people here in Louisville so that we could move on to the international movement that we're really excited about, is empowering everyone to grow food, to grow something, anything. And we have found for ourselves and the people that we're talking to, like Joel Salatin and Vandana Shiva and Will Allen Also to the big names, people that we have been our heroes for so long, that this is the number one thing that we can do to change the course of our planet. That localizing our food system reduces the need for all of the transportation costs, obviously, and it's the self-reliance piece, and it's the health-bringing piece that we need to reconnect with Earth. So you guys know all that.
Well, no, I can't, I don't get tired of hearing it in different ways, though. It might be the same gospel, but there's a lot of different preachers preaching it.
That's right.
That's one of the things you touched on earlier is we've lost the feel good of food. You know, we're not really, I mean, food's not as enjoyable as it once was. And I think that comes from we've corporatized food production, and we make it easy, we make it fast, and now we have instant gratification when we're hungry, and nobody realizes how much effort goes into food. But when you've made your own meal, I mean, literally grown it from the ground up, if it's something to eat like, your steak or your rabbit, your pork, your chicken, something that you raised yourself with garden herbs and vegetables that all made the same platter, it really feels good to eat that kind of food.
That's right. And, to get the ease and the convenience and the speed of the corporatized food that we've gotten so used to the last 30 or 40 years, what we've given up is our health. And so we have these epidemics of diabetes and overweight and heart disease and all kinds of things like that. So we're basically killing ourselves to make it easier. So it's really time that we got back to getting our fingers in the dirt and learning how easy it can be to grow food, and then that brings us confidence that we can take care of ourselves again. You know, we've come to a point where we want people to take care of us and do everything for us. And when you get your fingers in the earth and grow a tomato, you start regaining some of that confidence. Like, oh yeah, I can do this. I can begin to take care of myself, and that's really what we need these days.
Yeah, and that's actually the slogan of our show is empowering your independence. And that's one of the things is what happens if the supermarket just stops having food in it? You know,
mm-hmm.
Who out there knows how to grow their own food? Who's independent of the system? Truth is, not many people.
Yeah, and there's a whole nother aspect to the gardening, in my book, because I've got a son with he's on the autism spectrum. And what got me into this was kind of moving from my wife had celiac disease, and we had some foodborne illness in the family. So as we started moving down that road of healthier eating and growing our own, we saw a tremendous difference in my son's behavior. And by pulling away the refined sugars and the corn syrup and those things, and
the dyes.
The dyes, it has drastically increased, he's improved 100%. And I think a lot of it has to do with that diet and eliminating some of those things. And then now we also homeschool, so we're teaching them how to grow their food, how to be healthier, things that I wasn't necessarily taught or I gave up on in high school and moving forward and started eating the fast food. So we're getting back to that whole farming and understanding where your food comes from in our house. And I think it's a tremendous thing, not just because it's non-GMO, not just because we're growing it, not just because it's educational, but it's a combination. And at the same time, we're respecting the earth and helping out a little bit in that way as well.
Yeah.
A lot. Helping out a lot. And like we said, the number one thing that any of us can be doing is to be localizing our food production. And if all of us are doing a little bit, that the corporate world is going to feel that, and that we're also going to have the understanding and the empowerment of how to move forward together as a community rather than be continually separated by the corporate mindset of competition.
Absolutely. And, we, both Nick and I teach classes. I do aquaponics. And one of the things I say is at the end of the class, this is where each one of you in the class needs to go out and reach and teach one other person how to do this, because that's where the movement expands and that's how we grow it. I don't know if you're familiar with the movie Food Patriots. We're going to be doing a community screening of that. And their whole goal is to change what you do 10%. At least go out and try to make a 10% change in your life, whether it's growing your own, having some chickens, but replace 10% of your food with healthy, preferably organic and local grown food. So I know you guys have been around the block. You've got over 30 amazing speakers at your Grow Your Own Food Summit, which is free too. And tell me how you what your philosophy is and what you teach and how the heck you managed to get 30 people to help you teach this.
Well, we were lucky that Gary many years ago went up to Growing Power where Will Allen started the movement that he's doing, the integrated systems in the hoop houses.
And aquaponics.
And yeah, all sorts of amazing things that Will Allen does that everybody should be learning because we need those technologies everywhere. But Gary had a very close connection with Will Allen, so he was gracious to help us out. So having Will Allen on board, that when we reached out to other people, it was a much easier ask. But we actually went far beyond our comfort zone, and we just went out and asked. And we asked Vandana Shiva, and we asked Joel Salatin, and we actually got emails back from people saying, we'd love to support you. And that's how we did it. We just started before we were ready.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I remember when we were first making up a list of people to call or to try to get in contact with. If we could have anybody we wanted, we were writing down these people's names, our heroes, like Valerie said. And I mean, in my heart of hearts, I just was thinking, I just don't think this is ever going to happen. So, but we just stepped into it, and we just kept going again and again and sending emails again and again. And because people are busy, and if they don't get back to you, it doesn't mean they don't want to help. It just means they're busy. And we ended up getting just about everybody that we wanted to.
Except for Michael Pollan. He was a little bit slippery.
Yeah, he's going to be sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, you guys
Way to call him out.
That's right. You guys have like the who's who of homesteading, farmsteading, organic farming. You've got everything. You've got Carrie Van Winkle about bees. I mean, you've got Michael Judd. I'm going through these list of names, and I'm floored. And honestly, I'm thinking I need a 4-day vacation to go just watch this thing live because it's going to be awesome.
We had somebody say that to us yesterday. He said, I'm taking the whole week off so that I can see the whole thing.
Nice.
So, yes, the permaculture crew is definitely represented well with Toby Hemingway and John Valenzuela, Larry Korn of the One Star Revolution, Michael Judd, as you said. So yes, we do have a who's who of a lot of the big names in growing, and they're all so kind and supportive. And we also have a huge community here in Louisville of people who have done great work. So we interspersed conversations with people we know here in Louisville.
And one of the amazing things that we found out was that the people here locally in Louisville that are doing, worm composting and natural bug control and carry with their beekeeping, they were as compelling and dynamic and inspiring as the world famous people. And that was so cool to see that the people that are actually doing it, that are actually creating a local food economy here, were just, they were blowing it out of the water with this. It was great.
Now I'm looking at this list, and there's some pretty awesome folks here, but I noticed that you don't have a rabbit guy. And I was wondering if maybe you might need somebody to speak on rabbits, because I know.
Are you a rabbit guy?
Yeah.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
A little bit of a rabbit girl with Marjorie Wildcraft.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah. Okay. I think I associate her with other parts of it, but okay.
Yeah, she did touch on that because she's the only one I think that we talked to that is really actively growing meat on a small scale like that.
Well, but if you're a rabbit guy, let's talk for the 2015 summit. We need a rabbit person.
Oh, I'm so there.
Wait a minute. What about an aquaponics guy?
No, Don, shut up. I got this. This is my. I've got the microphone.
There you go. That's how a lot of people got on the show, was they just reached out and said, "Hey, I'm raising my hand.
What about me?
What about me?"
Well,
so
you know,
you're doing the right thing.
I definitely want to have We Grow Ours put down as a sponsor for next year too. So,
Yeah.
and if you want Nick and I, or you know, especially me, you know, to teach, we're good with that. You've got, if I could have these names on our podcast, we would be over our 50,000 downloads to like 1 million downloads. I mean, you've got Ocean Robbins coming in. I mean, I would love to have him on my podcast. So if these guys are listening to this too, we grow ours at gmail.com. You know, this is just phenomenal. So what made you guys, you know, how did you decide to give this away? Because basically that's what you're doing. You're giving it away.
Well, about 2 years ago, we started studying the model of online education, and these summits obviously are now the new norm of education in the public domain. And we want to spread this information to as many people as possible. So we decided to learn how to do it well, talk to people, to be able to feel confident in our speaking with all different kinds of people, just like being on your show. We were a little nervous, you know, coming on, but the big superstars that you are, I know that you made us feel really, really welcome here. So
Yeah, we're kind of a big deal.
I know. So
You know it.
yeah.
So Valerie, I got to ask you, I'm going to ask you to pick favorites. Who are you most looking forward to hearing on this?
Well, Joel Salatin, you know, I'm kind of in love with him, really.
So am I.
Would it be forward if I said so too? He is kind of, he's like the Michael Jordan of the realm though. I mean, he's kind of our point guard here. Definitely.
Yeah. Such a rebel.
Yeah, exactly. It's all in the hat though. You know, that dirty old beat up cowboy hat that he wears. I think that's what that commands it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tried wearing one. Doesn't work.
Funny. He's funny. He is just, you know, he's got a great sense of humor. He's got an amazing ability to write poetically, to see things from a bigger perspective, to get out of the governmental box, to really see the solution that's possible for all of us.
Yeah.
Like, what is this book that we really love? That folks, this just ain't normal. I mean, that's perfect, and that's just the way he talks. You know, he sees things very clearly and just wonders, what in the heck are we doing? You know,
That's great questions, and I'm glad that he asked them and got on to this.
Yeah, if anybody listening is interested in how to register for this, I'm going to point them to our website, wegrowours.com. I think I've got it all over that page right now. Every ad, every sidebar, everything on there happens to have the Grow Your Own Food Summit on there. So there's plenty of links. I'm just excited to get this out to people. So, Gary, tell me about, your background too.
Well, I was, in the fair trade organic coffee business for many years, importing coffee from around the world and, opening cafes here in Louisville, and really, you know, that was when I found out that, you know, this was maybe 15 years ago. I was thinking, you know, the world just seemed like a dismal place. A lot of things were just going wrong, and I had 4 kids, and I was thinking, man, what kind of a world are they growing up in, you know? And how do you change everything? How do you stop global warming? How do you change it? And I just realized that this cup of fair trade organic coffee that I was drinking that day was changing the world, because it was bringing more money to these coffee farmers and their families that live high in the mountains in these coffee growing countries, and they were able to, you know, buy shoes to send their kids to school and buy books. And so it made me understand that it's not the huge things that you have to do, but just the simple choices you make every day that change the world. And that's really how the world is being changed, you know, by individuals and partnerships, and by you all, and, you know, just taking small steps every day. And so that sort of changed my life and put me on the road to how can I bring this idea of taking small steps and changing the world to thousands and millions of people.
That's pretty awesome. So organic coffee. What's funny is I'm a big movie watcher, and every time I think of importing coffee, I'm like, what else is being smuggled in with the coffee beans?
Right.
Did you have a side business in there too? Cause
No,
that would be pretty lucrative.
I wish I would have thought of that.
You weren't watching the right movies.
There you go.
Really?
No, but I like what you're saying though. It's not about the big thing. It's not about let's just, pack it. Let's make our own huge amounts of food that are organic and then send them out into the world. I think that
Right.
it's smarter to go to the individuals. In fact, even at Hostile Hair, I used to churn out about 700 rabbits a month. And I was
Wow.
selling a lot of rabbits. But we've kind of changed gears and we're more putting the power to grow animals in the hands of the individual. So instead of them
I
coming to
love
me buying the bunnies, they're getting the system, the know-how, and then they go to town and then they were growing their own stuff. And I think that's, if we could get everybody to at least know how to grow food, then they wouldn't complain so much about a little bit more money going towards the good food that's grown locally.
Well,
Right.
you're cutting out as you mentioned before, the transportation costs, which are a huge portion of the costs associated with the food. So when you do grow locally, you're getting the healthy, but you don't necessarily need to spend a whole lot more money because you're going direct.
That's true.
You're going direct to the farmer and you're getting better quality food for similar prices. I'm amazed at what I can sell eggs for. We sell our eggs right now for about $4 a dozen because that's what it takes to feed my chickens, frankly.
Right.
So we're not trying to make money on it. We're just covering some food costs and we get some free eggs out of it.
We got to get you growing fodder, dude.
Yeah, fodder. I mean, it's just phenomenal. Now, Valerie, I know you spent some time in Hawaii too. So tell me how you got into this and how you went from Hawaii to doing this and why you left Hawaii.
Yeah, in Hawaii, the big island of Hawaii, there's a place called Puna, and it is sort of the Wild West of the United States where people at least 20 years ago went to just check out. And so we were off the grid. We were allowing the rhythms of nature to really guide our days. So we woke up with the sun and went and worked out in the garden in the organic fields and drank a lot of coconuts and had a lot of time to reconnect with what the city life doesn't offer, which is the opportunity to heal through that connection with nature. So I learned about permaculture then. That's where I met John Valenzuela, who's one of our speakers. And I was just inspired by the integrated model of permaculture and how it's not just about growing food, but it's about growing people and culture. It's about keeping us in a place of homeostasis with nature rather than dominant force over it. So I got very inspired by that and I started studying. I went to Costa Rica for permaculture intensive down there with Doug Bullock, and John Valenzuela is my teacher also. And it just sparked my imagination about what's possible in our energy sector and in our localization of and distribution of things. It just makes so much sense that putting the least amount of input in gives us the greatest amount of gain in this kind of a system where we're looking at where can we put ourselves so that we're working with nature, we're working with the environment, working with the cycles, and we're working with each other so that we're not having to redouble our efforts all the time to try and get the same amount of output.
Perfect. That's awesome. Now you touched on local energy as well. Is that going to be covered in the conference?
This one, no, but it is one of my great passions, anaerobic digestion and paralysis gasification.
Don makes fun of me because he says I've got a thing for poop.
Well, it's not just that he has a thing for poop. If you've listened to any of the shows, you know he talks about poop a lot, but I've got poop containers in my backyard from him. So we're doing anaerobic digestion in my backyard thanks to Nick.
It's a resource. We all know that there is no waste in nature.
Absolutely. And actually that's kind of what we try to teach people too. So this is why I'm so excited about this. You guys are doing on a large scale what Nick and I are trying to do on a smaller scale in our local community. And what got us into this in the first place. We put on a farmsteading conference not too long ago. We're going to have another one. We're doing a screening coming up of Food Patriots, and we're trying just to reach out to our local area, and we're trying to inspire other people in their towns to start doing the same thing. And our goal is to give we call it a net zero input. So we don't want to have to put anything in we want to kind of use everything in a circle. So the rabbit poop becomes energy. It becomes fertilizer. We grow the food for the animals. We grow fodder for the chicken. We can plant a garden and grow barley, for the fodder system. We use the waste to do black soldier flies and put it into the aquaponics system. And so there's this whole circle that needs to go around. And it's kind of what Joel does
but
on a grand
you're just
scale.
sounding like you're making too much common sense then.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Exactly.
Yeah. And this
Way
is
too
what
much
Joel
common
does
sense.
on a major scale on the farm. We're trying to bring it down to doing it in a small backyard.
Yeah, I live on a lot that's in the middle of a homeowners association I'm pretty sure it's controlled by the Third Reich or an offshoot thereof.
Oh my God.
And, in my backyard.
They're watching you, aren't they?
What's that?
They're watching you, aren't they?
Oh yeah, but what's funny is my wife and we figured, it'll be great. Let's just get some chickens. So we went and we bought these chickens, and the guy said that their wings were cut, so I didn't really worry about putting them in the coop. The next morning we got to meet all of our neighbors, and my wife called up the HOA to see how much trouble we were going to get into. They were extremely rude and told her that we were only allowed to have domestic animals or domesticated animals. And so I got on the phone with her and said, domesticated animals, huh? So can I grab a horse then? Cause they've been domesticated. And I just kind of went down the list of domesticated farm animals. And anyway, so I've been headbutting our HOA since we moved in. But I went to the rabbits cause they're, a smaller, less, they're not as prone to fly over the neighbor's fence.
Right.
But
They don't crow.
Exactly. They don't crow. They don't bark. They're very quiet and clean. But anyway, the point I'm making is I've got 2,500 workable square feet in my backyard, which in retrospect is nothing. I mean, it's a 5,700 square foot lot with a 1,500 square foot house on it. And so the backyard walled in, there's no room for anything. And in my little backyard, it would be easy to produce around 3,000 pounds of food a month. Easily.
So how many people would that feed?
Well, you figure the average human consumes 1,200 to 2,000 pounds a year. And with rabbits, you only need 215 pounds of the meat in order to get all the protein that you need. Obviously, you'd need other supplements as well. But as far as rabbits go, I could grow 1,250 pounds a month out of my backyard.
Yeah, and combined with an aquaponics system,
Mm-hmm.
you're looking at a couple thousand pounds of fruits and vegetables coming out of that, along with anywhere between 100 and 300 pounds of tilapia.
Easily feeding my neighborhood.
And the rabbit poop is doing a lot to build up the food source for the fish with the black soldier flies, which is one of our keys to integration. So you can, do pretty darn good in a small little spot when you combine rabbits and taking your proteins, aquaponics, and also your wastewaters into raised bed gardening and everything else that goes along with that. So you don't need a big area to do this stuff. Joel is awesome. He's doing this on a large scale, but it can be done in a small backyard.
Yeah, we don't recommend a Jersey or a Holstein for milk in an HOA.
Right.
Maybe a goat if you've got a quiet one,
right.
but you got to be incognito. It's got to be a ninja
Goats
goat.
aren't quiet. So back to you
Good
guys.
for you all. That's awesome.
Tell us some of the stories. I mean, you've been doing this a long time, longer than Nick and I have. So what's kind of your favorite thing, your favorite part? Share a story or two with us.
Amuse me.
Well, when we started to bring the idea of 15,000 farmers to Louisville, we decided to put out an email to our friends here. And granted, we do have a few friends because we're sort of, likable kind of people. But we decided to have a meeting, our first meeting on a cold February morning here in Louisville. It was snowing, and we were in the basement of a Unitarian church. And we decided to make 75 handouts because we thought, of course, there's never going to be 75 people that would show up for this on this day in the basement of a church. And we had over 200 people show up, and it was standing room only, and there were people who were spilling out the door of the building, and it was alive. It was so wonderful to see people wanted community, who want to know about this kind of information and want to come together and talk about it and have the experience of it. Now, that put us on the path that we were on the pulse of what was needed for our community to get healthier and come together.
And the thing is, which I'm sure y'all probably have noticed too, it's not just beginning food growers that came to that meeting. It was intermediate, it was advanced, it was the master gardeners came, and people just wanted to talk about growing food, and they wanted to help other people grow food, and that was just really a beautiful thing to see. You know, it was growing food is something that really creates a community, and people like to talk about what they're growing, what's not growing.
That's true. And I'll admit that if I were in that group, I'd want to show off. You know, I'd want to tell everybody what I was growing. Like, oh man, I got this. got this. Yeah, come see my rabbits.
Right.
I got a rabbit poop powered flamethrower.
It is really fun. And another time that was wonderful in the evolution of our organization was we went up to Will Allen's urban farm conference, and we gave a presentation on building community around food growing, the 15,000 farmers. I think it was 4 years ago we did that. And we got to meet some incredible people. We met the rock stars from Detroit, that are really just transforming that place into a food growing mecca.
Mm-hmm.
The Black, I'm blanking on their name, but they were wonderful organization of people. But people from everywhere, these urban farms, small farms, they're just wanting to make a difference and understand how we can be sustainable in our food growing and also financially, so that we can really take that power back from the corporatization that we've been imprisoned inside of.
Mm-hmm.
That the empowerment of this really goes on so many levels that we can feel free.
Yeah, we've been waiting for someone or something to save us, and as we've seen the last 10 years particularly, there is no one out there that's going to save us except ourselves. So it's just so nice to see that really. Yeah.
And the other thing that I found kind of neat about the movement as we started getting into it was that you're taking political sides that generally can't agree on anything, a right and a left and middle and all over the place, and everybody's coming together around food because we can all agree on it. And I think that is the coolest thing that we can get. I mean, we had a class where we saw people that were big into permaculture and what you'd call on the left, and people that were on the right, and they came together and they each learned from one another. And I thought that was just the coolest thing because this movement is not political.
Right.
Well, it's anti-politics. So you look at the people that show up, the far right wingers that are anti-big government don't like, being told what to do. They look at what's going on in Michigan where you can't have cattle you can't have any sort of livestock unless you've got 200 acres plus, things like that. When big government tells us what to do, we get a little bit angry. Then you look at the far left that doesn't like big business because they're heartless capitalists that are after the dollar and they're going to fill us full of poisons and GMOs and everything else. Well, folks, both, they're the same monster now. They're two hands on the same body. Big business and big government. Big government has been bought by big business. So they've got us pitted against each other on the heartstring topics that everybody fights about. But what we don't realize is we eat 3 times a day. We have medicine we need. We have fuel that we burn. With those 3 things, we are controlled unless we get together and take it back.
That's right.
Yeah. Right.
So I'm not calling for a revolution. I'm just calling for people to get their own stuff going.
Amen.
It's a good food revolution, and everybody's invited.
That's right.
There you go.
I love that.
Plant a garden. It's a non-violent resistance. You're not going to get shot at for planting a garden.
Well, it is a revolutionary act. It really that thing of going against the system. If we really look at it, that it is a revolutionary act. We're taking control back.
Mm-hmm.
We're allowing ourselves to be healthy and happy and to be non-dependent.
Mm-hmm.
Interdependent, obviously, because we need each other and we need to have community, and some of us are better at things than others.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't need someone to tell us what to do.
As long as you've got a skill to trade, You know, if you're contributing, you're a good part of society. And even on the sustainability side, maybe somebody's really good at growing potatoes, another person's really good at growing rabbits. I don't want to grow tomatoes in my place. I'll trade rabbits for tomatoes.
But I absolutely agree with you. I think it is a revolutionary act, and I think it's a revolution that we all need to join. Nick's always saying we're not ready to start a revolution yet, Don. But you know what? I keep saying I am. We are starting a revolution. That's what this is about. And you guys are on the cutting edge of this. You guys are the leaders in this.
Oh, aren't you sweet?
Oh, you see, really. He just wants to get invited to 2015.
I'm trying hard.
You're snuggling up there.
You're in, brother.
He's jonesing over here.
But
That's right.
Isn't it wild? Isn't it wild that it's come to pass that growing a tomato is a revolutionary act?
How sad is
really
that?
And it went in World War II. I collect all a lot of these Victory Garden posters and stuff. And back in World War II, you know, the government was out saying not only grow gardens, but grow rabbits and own chickens.
Yeah,
and that was the thing
gardens,
to do.
They call them.
The Victory Gardens. And it went from that to, we can't plant food in our front yards. I'm not sure how we did that or, you know, how we let that happen, but it's time to go back to common sense, as you said.
Exactly.
It's from the addiction to convenience and lethargy and
Sugar,
yeah, and media, and how we really have been hypnotized by all of those things especially over these past 50 years, 60 years, and we're coming out of a big stupor. So it's a little disorienting for a lot of us coming out of that, because there's just a whole mindset that is going on when you're in the media world, in the movie world, in someone else is going to take care of me world. And then waking up to, it's actually me. I need to take a proactive approach here and become a part of my community. And the change of the world is a bunch of small acts put together.
Very well said.
Absolutely.
It's funny you say that we're kind of being driven to and from. You know, you look at USDA statistics that they put out. You look at the food pyramid. What's at the bottom of the food pyramid? The one that we're supposed to eat the most of are grains and our breads and our cereals and all of that stuff. That's what they've got down at the bottom. But what they don't tell you is all of those starches convert into carbohydrate. You know, they're carbohydrates. And now we've got a diabetes epidemic, and you look at who's funding the actual
research.
The research, and it's people selling insulin. So it's really, you know, look at who's paying, follow the money.
Absolutely.
They don't want us to grow our own food. Have an act of defiance, grow it.
So we're coming up against some time, but I do have a question. I asked Valerie who your favorite one was, but Gary, I didn't hear what your answer was. Who are you most looking forward to? Which class?
I think Vandana Shiva. She's so inspiring, and she's been doing this work for her whole life. You know, she's been fighting to allow people to save seeds. You know, the old seeds that contain all the genetic diversity that gave us all of the great foods that we loved over the years. And she's really fighting that and fighting the fight to tell people that where the action is growing your own food at home. She's the one who said that's the one thing you can do to help change the world is grow food at home. And people are looking for something to do. People are looking for some hope. They don't know what to do. So you can tell them, hey, grow some food, raise a bunny. I hope you don't call them bunnies. It's really,
I do
really
name them.
It's livestock, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I named mine, and I actually had a reporter ask me at the time, "Oh, do you name them?" I said, "Yes, ma'am. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner."
Yeah.
She about dropped her microphone.
Well, and you know, I actually don't know your stance on raising meats, but one of the things that we found is it's easy to convince people, because that's the first reaction on raising your own meat and slaughtering your own animals is, oh, that's horrible. But yet they're out, and all you need to do is educate them on what they're eating from the store and what it goes through. And then come and take a look at what we're doing with our animals and how we're humanely raising them. And we respect it. We respect our foods and we respect the animal and we humanely slaughter it. And you've changed somebody's life with just that conversation. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The next time they go into the store and look at that USDA aged beef, they'll remember that I told them, that 2 weeks that it said at 43 degrees so it could rot down to that tender perfection.
I still love aged beef.
Oh my God.
That's the best.
So remember that it's all about the soil. So even our livestock, which we're very interested in learning more about and becoming more involved with as time goes on, but it's all about our soil. So what are we doing to support the health and well-being of our soil? If we're giving the nutrients to our food through the soil, through our compost, that's how this world's going to change. That our soil has been depleted, that the bacteria, the good minerals, all of the microbes in the soil have been lost, obviously, over chemical onslaught, and also just the lack of awareness for people not leaving the trees and the leaves and all the things that are so wonderfully rich on their property. They're bagging it up in plastic and sending it off to the landfill. And how can we teach people that our own health demands that we take care of our soil, that the biology of our body is made on the biology of the soil. So we have to think about this community that we live in, which is 85% non-human, and that the microbes in the soil are actually who is feeding our community inside. So feed our soil, feed the soil, keep it local, keep everything in your yard, find out how to sanely decompose things so that it can continue the life cycle right where it is.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
That
Well,
is
I know who
awesome.
I'm looking forward to hearing the most now.
Yeah, there you go.
So, Gary and Valerie, thank you so much for spending, all this time with us. We really appreciate it. And, I'm excited about this, obviously. We've got it all over our website at We Grow Ours. So if anybody's listening, come check it out. Is there any contact information you guys would like to give out?
Foodgrowingpeople.com. And there'll be lots more to come in the future. This event's going to be July 7th through the 14th online, and it is all free. So come and enjoy.
Yeah.
We're glad that you asked us on. It's been a real pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for your support, Don and Nick, and thanks for all the great work that y'all are doing in your backyards.
Absolutely. Thank you. And I'm looking forward to learning even more, at the upcoming summit. Thanks again.
Thanks, guys. Man, that was awesome. I'm gonna
Totally awesome.
everything is awesome. Shut up, Don. You don't know. You weren't there.
No, but I figured if I said it, you always sing
Oh,
it. So.
gosh, stupid song is gonna be stuck in my head now.
What is that? The Pavlo? Is that, I'm training him. Every time I say something, he has a reaction. The bell rings and the dog jewels. You're the dog in this situation.
Oh, thank you.
No problem.
The dog of this situation.
That's right.
I'll bite you in the ass.
Yeah, so, alright, well, I'm not even gonna go there. So,
Anyways.
Gary and Valerie, that was awesome. And, see, he didn't fall for it that time.
The bell rang. Damn
He
it.
started to and he caught it. So, again, we're running off some time on this one, so we're not gonna spend a whole lot of time.
We Grow Ours will have the links up for, the event.
for the event to register. We'll put Gary and Valerie's link on there to their Facebook, to their Twitter,
Yes.
all that fun stuff. And you guys, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to also be announcing in the kind of the end of August. Keep your ears open for the Gompers thing with Food Patriots. So keep that coming. We're still working on details. When you're working with nonprofits and with trying to get things done and all that, we've got to be careful that we're doing everything right, insurance and all that fun stuff that you got to do.
Dotting T's and crossing I's, right?
Yeah, I'll tell
Or
you,
vice
we're
versa.
doing that. Remember, Facebook.com/WeGrowOurs. You can send voicemail there and go ahead and post and comment and something.
Engage us.
Engage us. Let us know what shows you want to hear. What we've got.
Tell
some
us
other
we're
things coming
worthless
up.
a-holes. We just want the attention.
Yeah, exactly. Nick wants the attention. So, Twitter, we've got a good Twitter following. If you guys can, go on Twitter, we do use that a couple times a week at least. I set up Pinterest. I also put on the YouTube channel, so it's youtube.com. I have no idea we don't get our own little linky there yet, so it's not /WeGrowOurs. But go to YouTube, search We Grow Ours. We've got episode 1 and 2, and hopefully we'll have the rest up. It's a really big pain in the butt to get all of our audio podcasts onto YouTube, so I haven't done it all yet, but we're going to be there. But most importantly, go check out WeGrowOurs.com. Download and listen to the episodes. Subscribe on iTunes. Subscribe on Stitcher. Help us out with that. And thank you for coming again. We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys. I'll miss you.